Hello everyone, this is Jay Watson. I'm going to show you how to create a very simple JavaScript slideshow to insert in your web pages. To get started, let me explain my setup, and you may want to pause the video and try to set it up just like I have it. I have a folder called Slideshow. In that folder I have 3 images. These are images I think I used on a tutorial before as far as about just inserting a slideshow. Slide 1, Slide 2, and Slide 3.jpg. You can see here on my little preview pane, this has text written on the image. This is not anything, of course, we'll actually associate text with these images in the HTML and with JavaScript. So I have Superman, Batman is cooler, the Flash is okay. These are my slides. I have slideshow.html and slideshow.js. That's my JavaScript file that will contain all the JavaScript. I already have these files opened up in Sublime Text, and everything should be set to Jet, ready to go. So first, so you can see nothing in slideshow.js and slideshow.html. I just have the skeleton HTML, just what I need here. So to get started, let's go ahead and insert our placeholder image here. img src equal slide1.jpg, and let's give it an ID of slideshow, and of course let's put a break tag here, and we'll save that, and then let's go ahead and open that up in our browser. And if you need to pause the video, make sure you have everything like I do before you get started, because we'll be moving rather quickly. And this is what we have. Superman is okay. That's it. It's just an image inserted in our web page. So let me minimize this, go back to Sublime Text, and let's go ahead and create 3 things here. First, I want to create a div for a caption that will be associated with my slides. And then I want to create a first or a previous slide and next slide button. Of course, you would do these, you know, we're not doing any styling with this tutorial, so I'll go ahead. Div ID equal caption, if I can spell. And for this, I'm just going to say caption for slide 1. And then let's go ahead and create a href. Just put a hashtag or £sign here. And on click, and this is how we're going to call our function. Right now, just put empty, just put double quotes there. And then we're going to type previous slide, put a break tag here, on next slide, and that should be set to Jet, refresh or F5, and so this right here will be associated with our slides. This is just a bit of text. We'll store the messages in an array. We'll store our image sources in an array, and you'll see how all that works here soon. So let me make sure, you want to make sure that you are linking to your JavaScript file. So I'm going to go ahead and start working in that. And the first thing we want to do is to create a couple of arrays. First, we're going to store our images in an images array, and of course square brackets, and we're going to say, okay, first one of course is slide1.jpg, next place in our array will be slide2.jpg, then slide3.jpg, and this is good. Now we want to store our caption. I'm just going to say caption, and for this we'll keep it simple. And what's the caption? Caption for slide 1. And let's go and just copy and paste this. Who likes to type? I can actually type okay. caption for slide 2, change that, caption for slide 3. Okay, we have two arrays. Each of the arrays have 3 elements in the array. Now we will need to create a function. But before that, let's create a couple variables. First, we're going to create a variable just to keep track of the image number. So what we're going to do is we'll create a function that will iterate through these arrays, or we'll create a function to change the image, and we need something to keep track of what image number we are on. So let's go ahead and declare and initialize that. Image number equals 0, and then something to keep track of the image length, and we'll just name that and of course we need to subtract 1 from this, that way we don't, you'll see why here in just a second, because we can't go too far in the array. You'll see why here in a second. So our function will be called change image. In this function, it could be any parameter we want, but we'll be plugging something in here, and it will actually, what will go in here is whether we want to go forward or backwards. And so we can just call this, let's just plug X in here, and so it'll be the number that we're on essentially in the array. So I have change image, I don't know what I have there, make sure that's spelled correctly, change image. And so first we're going to say if image number is greater than image length, we will set the image number equal to 0. So what's happening here is when we've reached the end of the array, so say for example, okay, here is our images array. This is a 0, of course arrays start at 0, so this is index 0, this is index 1, this is index 2. So if our image number is greater than that, well, that would we would get an error there. That wouldn't be able to work. So for example, our image length here will be the array length minus 1. Okay, so we have 2. So if we're on the second index or the third index here, if it's greater than 2, then we don't have an image for that, right? We don't have an image for that. So that would cause an error. So what this will do is this will start the slide show all over. So if we were at number 3 here, there wouldn't be anything left. There wouldn't be an image for that place. So that'll push us all the way back to the 0 index, which is slide 1. That may be a confusing concept to wrap your head around, but that's what's going on. So that'll just start us all over, and you may want to just put yourself a comment here and just say if you've reached end of array, start over. This will start the slideshow over. Again, we need another if statement, and we're going to say if image number is less than 0, what we want to do is set the image number equal to image length. So say for example you click our back button that we will have in our slide, and obviously we can't go back to -1, so if it's less than 0, it'll just start us up and then say okay, we'll go back to the end of the array. So say for example we're on slide 1 and a user tries to click back, and our change image, they plug -1 here, so we can't go back to -1. We don't have an image for that, so that will kick us forward, or group that all the way to slide 3 and to the end of the array. So we need this in here. So a couple other things we need to do here. We're going to use the document.getElement by ID, and we're going to grab a hold, you guessed it, of the slideshow ID. Remember, over here this is the ID we gave our image, Okay, so document.element by ID slideshow and .src. We want the source of that particular ID that contains our image, and we're going to set it equal to images and then image number. Okay, and that's very important there. So we're going to set it equal to images, image number, and what this is doing here, so in our images array we have these particular elements here. So this is our images array, and so say for example this function is on the image number here is 0, for example. Okay, so that will return slide 1. Okay, if this happens to be on 2, that will return slide 3, because that's the index 2 of the images array. So this is getting our images. At the very top of this function, one thing I did not do is I haven't created a way for our change image function to actually change the array, and that's very simple to do. See this parameter here? So say for example that 1 is plugged in here, and when they click next, there will be a 1 plugged in our function here. So what this will do is this will add 1 to our image number. And so all we need to do here is say image number plus equal x. Okay, and I should have named that something more descriptive here. So image number plus equal x. So say for example we're on slide 1, which we will be when the page loads. So image number plus equal x, and if we hit the next button, then we will be on slide 2. That will add 1 to 0. We hit the next button, then we'll be on slide 3. If we hit the next button, well, there is no slide 4, but what will happen is the image number will be greater than the image length, right? And so then it'll kick us back to 0, so we'll start all over. Hopefully this is explaining to you how it works, because it's very important to understand how it works. Then we're going to use the document.getElement by ID, and of course what do we want to grab a hold of? Our caption ID. And this is very simple, and then we're going to use the innerhtml, and we're going to set it equal to caption array. And what should go in here? Well, of course image number should go in there, because this works exactly the same way as what we just did. So we have our images array, and then the image number is what controls which index we are on. We have our caption array, and the image number is what controls what index we are on there. And then we'll go ahead and return false at the end of our function. And so we have everything we need here. So a couple things we need to do here, okay? And we're going to actually in our onClick attribute here, we're going to specify our function. And of course our function for the previous slide, we'll use the change image function, and then we'll subtract 1. We want to go back in the array 1. Of course if we're at the 0 index, that will actually take us back to -1. So in this case, if image number was equal to -1, again it would kick us back to the end of the array, or kick us forward to the end of the array, depending on how you look at it. What we're going to do now is just use a semicolon and return false, although we've already done that in our function, but we just want to make sure that browsers don't try to follow this link here. It shouldn't. So again, we'll do the same thing here. Change image function. Here we just want a +1 in our parentheses, 911 or 910, and then return false. Same way that we did there. Remember your semicolons to end your statements, and voila, save this. Okay, I should come up here and say save. I'm using and I just have the trial version, I'm just using Command S. You use Control S, please. Make sure it's saved. Go back to our browser, let's refresh, and let's see if this works. Okay, so we have our slide 1 caption for slide 1, and let's hit next slide. Bam, it works just like that. Okay, let's hit previous slide. We should go back to Superman. Bam. If we try to go back, remember that we can't go back, so it should just kick us to the end of the array, which should be the flash. and we have undefined here. We need to look and see what we have done. Okay, slide3.jpg. So if image number greater than if image number less than 0, image number equal image length. What is image length? Images.length. Make sure you don't have that typo. Save this. Let's refresh this page and let's try it again. Yes, see? And notice how this is associated. This is the caption for our second slide. We want to go forward. Slide 3, slide 1. And see, this is perfectly associated. And honestly, what you should do here is instead of caption for slide 1, let's change this out. What was it? Superman. Batman. Make it something that's descriptive. Later on, I'll add a tutorial and I'll show you how we'll use this caption and we'll kind of overlay our slides and make it look all pretty. Of course, we'll need to use CSS for that. This is Flash, dude. Save this. And oh yeah, I need to change it my HTML. Go ahead and change what I call it. Batman, Superman, I don't know. So here. So here we have Superman, the Flash dude, Superman, Batman. And this works like a charm. Beautiful, right? Easy. Very, very little code. Now, this is not the best slideshow. Of course, if we create a slideshow, we're going to want it to run automatically. And this can certainly be a bit glitchy. There's a reason people use jQuery for this type of thing. It's much easier. But this is a very good beginner slideshow. And for you to know how it works and create it on your own and code your whole website, and it's pretty cool. You can say, hey, I coded it all. Didn't use WordPress. Nothing wrong with WordPress though. WordPress is great. So here, what we want to do is we want to create another function, and we'll call this function auto run, because that's exactly what it will do. And in this function, we'll use a built-in method. And this method is called the setInterval method, and JavaScript makes it easy for us here. And in the parentheses, if I can say that word, for the parameters, for the first parameter, we'll plug in our function, change image. Okay, and so what do we want to do? Well, we want it to go forward one. We usually don't have our stuff go backwards. So we're going to plug in our change image function. And then for the second parameter, we're going to say, well, how quickly do we want this interval to run? You know, what's our interval going to be? And of course, that's measured in milliseconds. So if we wanted it to be every 5 seconds, we'll go 5,000 milliseconds. Save this, Control S, Command S for me, and then we're going to our body tag, and we're going to say body onload equal, and then we'll just what I call it? What in the world am I talking about? Change equal auto run. I don't know what in the world. I got to thinking about something else. Auto run. Okay. And so what will happen here is that as soon as this page loads, our slideshow will start moving. Refresh. 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2. Yeah. Okay. I was counting too slow. And you can see every 5 seconds we're going to change slides. Now the thing about this, like I said, is it is a bit glitchy. So if you press next or previous at about the time that this setInterval function has reached its time to change, then it'll be kind of weird. Okay, it's not this is not a perfect slideshow, but this is a pretty cool slideshow with a very minimal amount of code that I think you can understand how it works. So we have a function that changes image. We have a parameter here. If we plug in 1, we're going to go forward 1. If we subtract 1, we're going to go back 1. For our auto run function, we're just using a built-in method that JavaScript has included for us, setInterval, and we're just using our change image function. 2 arrays, very, very simple slideshow. Hope this helps. And again, you can play around with this. So this is set to auto run, and you can see I can go next. Now if I hit the timing, it can look weird sometimes. I think if your interval is set like 5 seconds, which 4 or 5 seconds is honestly where you'd want to set it anyway, it's not as glitchy. Whereas if you have it set at 3 seconds, yeah, see, it's not bad unless you start clicking quickly through it. That doesn't look too bad at all. Good luck, folks. Leave a comment if you have any questions. Take care.